Ordeal by Hunger, a non-fiction work by American author and historian George R. Stewart, published in 1936, vividly recounts the harrowing journey of the Donner Party. This group of American pioneers, bound for California in 1847, became stranded in the treacherous Sierra Nevada mountains, ultimately resorting to cannibalism in their desperate struggle for survival. While the tragic tale of the Donner Party was already well known, Stewart's Ordeal by Hunger garnered acclaim for its meticulous research and compelling storytelling. The book received praise for its comprehensive approach, providing valuable historical reference while also offering a gripping adventure narrative. Kirkus Reviews lauds its significance as a reference guide and its ability to captivate readers with its storytelling. During the 1840s, a significant number of pioneers embarked on a treacherous journey from the eastern and midwestern United States to the Oregon Territory and California. Driven by aspirations of economic opportunity and personal or religious freedom, families predominantly followed the Oregon Trail, a perilous yet established route that traversed present-day Wyoming and Idaho, avoiding the most treacherous deserts and mountain passes on the way to Oregon. From there, settlers could proceed south to California. However, in 1846, Leonard Hastings proposed a new wagon trail, dubbed the Hastings Cutoff, which promised a more direct route to California. Instead of the safer path through Idaho, Hastings' route led pioneers through Utah's Great Salt Lake Desert and over the challenging terrain of the Sierra Nevada mountains. Despite the increased risks, 32 members of the Donner and Reed families, along with other wagon parties that joined along the way, chose to follow Hastings' largely untested route. The total number of individuals in what became colloquially known as the Donner Party reached 87. Their fateful decision to take the Hastings Cutoff would lead to their tragic entrapment in the Sierra Nevada mountains, where they faced severe snowstorms, food shortages, and extreme hardships. As their situation grew dire, some members resorted to cannibalism as a means of survival. Stewart's Ordeal by Hunger provides a comprehensive account of the Donner Party's ordeal, shedding light on the sacrifices, struggles, and desperate measures taken by these pioneers in their fight for survival. Through meticulous research and engaging storytelling, the book explores the human dimensions of this tragic episode in American history. During the initial phase of their journey, the Donner Party found themselves trailing behind Leonard Hastings, who led a procession of 40 wagons known as the Harlan Young Group. The Donner Party's slower progress can be attributed to the large number of women and children in their group. On July 27, 1846, they reached Black's Fork, Wyoming, which marked the last opportunity to change course and join the safer Oregon Trail. Unfortunately, Hastings had already moved ahead, but journalist Edwin Bryant had left cautionary letters warning against taking the treacherous Hastings Cutoff, especially for a party with numerous women and children. However, Jim Bridger, the operator of the supply outpost at Black's Fork, allegedly concealed these letters, driven by his financial interest in guiding more settlers along the Hastings Cutoff, thus bypassing his outpost. The first major challenge encountered by the Donner Party was the formidable Wasatch Mountains. The terrain was rugged, surpassing the capabilities of their wagons, and the route itself was difficult to discern. Unlike the well-established Oregon Trail, which had seen years of use and had a clear path, the Donner Party was among the first to venture on this route. Hastings had left instructions and written guidance along the way, but his directions often diverged from the original path he had charted, leading to further confusion. The rocky terrain and broken wagon wheels slowed the party's progress to a mere 1.5 miles per day, a significant contrast to the average wagon's pace of 15 miles per day on the Oregon Trail. By late August, the Donner Party finally emerged from the Wasatch Mountains, only to face the vast and formidable Great Salt Lake Desert. Except for a few more affluent families, most of the group had nearly depleted their food and water supplies. A message from Hastings suggested that although the terrain would be arid and challenging, it should only take 2 days to cross the desert. It took a staggering 6 days to cross the Great Salt Lake Desert, resulting in the abandonment and tragic demise of many of the oxen that could no longer endure the sweltering heat. Eventually, the party managed to traverse the desert and find respite at a spring where they could replenish their water supplies. However, the losses in provisions and animals had been substantial, leading to the disintegration of unity within the group. Families turned against one another, and at one point, the Reed family patriarch was expelled from the party. The final leg of the journey brought the Donner Party to the treacherous Sierra Nevada mountains, perilously late in the season. It was October 20th, and the families believed they had until at least November before snow would render the mountain pass impassable. Unfortunately, the snow had already blocked their path, forcing most of the party to seek refuge for the winter in a cabin constructed 2 years earlier near Truckee Lake, now Donner Lake, along with makeshift tents. Despite the efforts of scouting parties to find help by traversing the mountain, they returned unsuccessful, unable to pass on foot, let alone with wagons. As the remaining food supplies dwindled, the pioneers resorted to consuming the oxen. When even the meat ran out, they resorted to charring the bones and hides of the animals until they were edible, although these scraps provided little nourishment. The survivors considered themselves fortunate if they could catch mice to eat. By January, they were even forced to consume the ox hides that had previously served as makeshift tent roofs. Men, women, and children of all ages began to succumb to starvation, and the desperate survivors resorted to dismembering the deceased and consuming their flesh. While most acts of cannibalism involved those who had died naturally, there was at least one instance where 2 individuals near death were shot to provide sustenance for others. Another shocking incident unfolded when party members discovered a pot filled with human flesh in a man's tent, alongside George Donner's belongings. The man was accused of murder, adding another horrifying dimension to their already dire situation. Eventually, in February, a rescue team of 7 men was dispatched to save the Donner Party, prompted by Reed's pleas for help. When they reached Truckee Lake, the scene they encountered was indescribable. The dead had been subjected to mutilation through cannibalism, while the survivors were ravaged by sickness, starvation, and gangrene. Tragically, one child managed to survive the harrowing ordeal, only to succumb to overeating and perish upon returning to civilization, having consumed an excessive amount of food, effectively eating himself to death. In the end, out of the original 87 members of the Donner Party, 39 lost their lives as a result of the treacherous journey. While Ordeal by Hunger is a meticulously researched and masterfully written account, it sets itself apart from typical tales of survival by being more unsettling than inspiring. I hope you enjoyed this video. Leave a like if you did, and be sure to subscribe. Thank you.